most people are not going to like this particular post. They're not going to like this video, but I mean, the world is emerging because we've got free speech. People are free to express their minds. People are free to say what's in their head. And from there, we can begin to approach life from the ideas of other people. So today, we're beginning with this man, this wonderful president of Africa. I mean, this one is like the icon, and I put the icon in quotes, for African presidents in the minds of almost every African. Everyone is hyping him. Everyone is subscribing to his leadership. Everyone feels like Traore is the answer, the supposed answer, the prayer Africa has been praying for that has been answered. His name is Ibrahim Traore, the acting president of Burkina Faso. We can walk down a little memory lane when he came to power in the year 2022 via a military takeover. It was a coup d'etat. He didn't come into power by elections, or he wasn't voted into power. He took over power from the former president of Burkina Faso. And since then, all we see on the internet, on especially big pro-Traore blogs like Zamani's blog, Future, Tunde Ednot, all the big blogs, in fact, I can say almost every African blog is hyping him. They're like, Traore is doing this for Burkina Faso. Oh, he's just bought buses. Oh, he's constructing 50-kilometer roads. Oh, he's doing this. He's always doing something wonderful. He's always doing something amazing. In fact, he's always answering the African prayer in Burkina Faso. Isn't that magnificent? It's so wonderful. Like, imagine this person that does everything just right, just perfect. That is the image that's been sold to us about Ibrahim Traore. And beautifully, almost every African is buying to it. Everyone is subscribing to that kind of leadership. Except who? Me, Ngumi. Why? Because I can't. So, I'm not saying that Traore is not a great president or a great leader. That's not for me to decide. But I have my skepticisms. I'm skeptical about this, your all-perfect president, Ibrahim Traore. And why do I say so? When I scroll past, or when I'm scrolling on the internet, I see South African content, I see Nigerian content, I see Malian content, I see content from almost every part of Africa, except Burkina Faso. I don't see any content. I don't know any content creator from Burkina Faso. Do you get? I don't know anybody who makes content about Burkina Faso. And then the only thing I know about Burkina Faso is the wonders Traore is doing for Burkina Faso. The only one thing I know about Burkina Faso is the absolute good Traore is doing. Is either he's ousting colonial powers from his country, he is infrastructurally developing his country, he is investing in the educational sector. He's always doing something wonderful. And that is all what we know about Burkina Faso. And I'm sure that's all you know too. I don't know any other thing. This to me sounds like press censorship. Yeah, it sounds like press censorship. Because if the press wasn't that censored, we wouldn't. I feel like he has a very good PR. I think his PR knows exactly what to do, exactly what narrative to sell, exactly what the field Africans will buy if it is put out there about Ibrahim Traore. And I will say congratulations to his PR team because they're doing just amazingly well. But someone like me, I'm not going to subscribe to that or just buy to that so easily. I'm going to have to question it. First, I will start with the fact that this guy didn't come into power via, he was not elected into power, right? That's why he calls himself Captain Ibrahim Traore. He came into power because after ousting the former president via a military takeover. And since then, he has, should I say, dissolved elections indefinitely. There's been no elections held in Burkina Faso since then, and we don't know when there's going to be a next elections. To me, that sounds questionable. If you're such an amazing and wonderful president, why not leave the room for franchise? Why are we not exercising, or why are Burkinabe not exercising their civic rights? Why wouldn't they vote you into power? Why wouldn't they say, of course, this wonderful man, Traore, should be president, and then they vote you into power? Why would you just dissolve elections indefinitely? That sounds to me like an authoritarian government. And yeah, I know most of you Africans will come for me and you begin to say, what about your shitty country, Cameroon? Is that a democracy? Of course, I know of pseudo-democracy, and it is, you can try to tag what we live in as a pseudo-democracy. And I get it. I get your points. I've never stopped at criticizing the democracy we face in Africa. But you see me, I'm a firm believer in democracy. I feel like democracy is still the answer. It is still our way forward to an emerging economy. In most cases. I mean, democracy is not perfect. We talk about even the founders or the world democracies like America, Canada, Europe, and all the like. They are not perfect economies, but they are great, right? I mean, you would go to live in a democracy than any other authoritarian governed country. You would prefer to live in a democracy. And me too, I will. So yeah, I still believe in democracy. I believe that we're going to continue to press on in our democratic views. And if somebody who is really fighting for the emergence of a nation or Africa is taking us back to a dictatorship era, isn't that questionable? Okay, I mean, that's an overstatement because I can't just call him a dictator, but I would say that's typically or more or less of an authoritarian government. And now, let me ask you, as bad as our economy or our political situation is in this country, and mind you, it's not a dictatorship government. It is what you would describe as pseudo-democracy. Now ask yourself if this was an actual dictatorship government, if our elites can be what they are in a democracy or your pseudo-democracy, imagine what they will be in an actual dictatorship. You really still think a dictatorship is good for Africa? Because I know that's why most of you will come under here to insult me and say, do you really think a dictatorship is what Africa needs? And now don't play that. I know the famous quote you always bring. You always bring me the Muammar Gaddafi quote. Look at Muammar Gaddafi. He did this for Libya. He did that for Libya. Libya was this. Libya was great. Of course, Gaddafi did a lot for Libya. Libya was one of the greatest, and I put the greatest in quotes, economies in Africa in the days of Muammar Gaddafi. Congratulations to him. We cannot talk about Libya without mentioning his name. He did a lot, especially in aspects of economic growth. Libya would rank like one of the greatest in GDP and everything in Africa, of course, in the days of Muammar Gaddafi. But what about when he died? What about after Gaddafi? What has become of Libya? What can we say about today? What can we say about Libya's today's economy? What can we say about it? That's what dictatorship does to you. First, we have to rely that we're going to find a benevolent dictator. We're going to find a good person. We're going to find a kind person. And then this person is going to come and take this economy out of the kindness of his heart, out of the benevolence of his heart. He's going to give us a great economy. Congratulations to Libya. They found that in Gaddafi. Even though I could start to criticize that all way, but I'm not going to talk about it now. But if we're speaking in the aspect of economic growth, yeah, Gaddafi gave that to Libya. And then what happened after Gaddafi died? What happens when the dictator leaves? What happens? That's what a dictatorship government does to you. How do democracies lead? Democracies lead as per they use institutions to govern and not individuals. Democracies give power to institutions. It gives power to systems. It gives power to offices and not to individuals. And that's why even in the absence of a leader, a democracy is unshaken. Nothing will happen to America if Donald Trump is not president today. No, because the systems in place are running. The offices are running. No one is bigger than an office. But that's not the case in a dictatorship. The dictator is bigger than every office, is bigger than every institution. And we cannot trust one human being with such power. So that's why we don't trust your Traore. No, I don't trust your Traore. And that's why Libya is suffering today. Because if those offices, if those systems were in place, Libya will not live from top to bottom like that. No, because the systems will keep, if the death of one man would destroy an economy, that just tells you that the economy was designed or built around a man rather than built around systems. I feel so bad for all of you who keep supporting dictatorship and authoritarian governments. It is not the answer to any. I know you people, yes, Africa is not going to develop under any authoritarian government. I would say that with my full chest. I believe in democracy. We can work to strengthen our institutions, improve our democratic roots. But adopting dictatorship because we're desperate and it's not going to help us. So yeah, your Traore, your African icon, it's not an icon for me. You can come for me all you like, but that's just what I think about him. I mean, all these pro Traore blocks, it's good for you, but me, I don't see this man in that light.